don't look now, but the Dolphins have won 5 straight. They are now 6-7, and they've pushed themselves back into the AFC race. Although they are the 13th seed in the AFC, and they have a mountain still to climb. You got the Broncos ahead of them. You got the Browns ahead of them. You got the Raiders, the Colts, the Steelers, the Bills, the Bengals, the Chargers. All of those teams fighting for 3 wildcard spots. But can the Dolphins actually do it? They're on a 5-game win streak. They've beaten the Ravens, and they've taken care of some pedestrian teams, the Texans, the Jets, the Panthers, the Giants. So the only real impressive victory right there that you would say is a quality victory is probably the Ravens. They beat them on Thursday Night Football. It was a pretty ugly game. It was boring. I remember I was taking a flight and I was watching that game before boarding, and I was like, "This is boring. This is a boring game. I'm not missing much. I'm about to probably miss, the second half because I'm gonna be in the plane, but I don't think I'm missing much. This is not that entertaining." But I did not know that was the second game in their 5-game win streak. They're now 6-7 after starting 1-7. So congratulations to the Dolphins. They're fighting. They're competing. And lucky for them, they have the Jets coming up and have the Saints. The Jets, as we know, they're terrible. And the Saints, without Jameis, Kamara, we'll see if he comes back. Michael Thomas is done for the season. That defense is still good. That offense is just terrible. Who's going to be their quarterback? Is it going to be Seaman? Is it going to be Hill? We don't know. But you could realistically see the Dolphins extending their win streak to 7. They could take care of the Jets. They could go to New Orleans and take care of the Saints. And at that point, they'll be 8-7 with 2 games left against the Titans and against the Patriots. And the Titans, it looks like they're falling off a cliff. We'll see if A.J. Brown is back at that point. We'll see if Julio Jones is back. We'll see if they come back, if they're healthy, because they've been injured the whole season. A.J. Brown hasn't been able to stay healthy. Julio Jones hasn't been healthy for like the last 3 seasons, 3 seasons. So we'll see. That's definitely a game they could win. Dolphins versus Titans. They could win that game. So if they take care of the easy ones, or the so-called easy ones, against the Jets and the Saints, they position themselves to just play a great game in Tennessee. We'll see. The Titans might be desperate at that point. We'll see how the Colts and they do. But I could see a scenario where the Dolphins beat the Titans, and then it comes down the final game of the season. They play the Patriots at home, and it's crazy because the first game of the season was against the Patriots. So to have the Patriots at the beginning, at the end, that's a weird schedule, especially seeing teams play each other 2 out of 3 weeks, kind of like how the Steelers and the Ravens played each other. But the Patriots, they might have the first spot locked in. Obviously, if they get the first spot and they get a first round bye, they don't want to rest their players for too much. So I will think that they would play their players this last game. But we'll see how much the Patriots are playing, how much they have left to accomplish at the end of the season. Will the Patriots have the number 1 seed wrapped up? Are they still going to be playing for that number 1 seed? If the Patriots are playing for that number 1 seed, then that makes that game a lot tougher for the Dolphins. If the Patriots are able to wrap it up at that point before week 17, then that bodes well for the Dolphins, who will be fighting for their playoff lives at that point. So can I see it happening? Man, it's tough. It's tough because I would like to say that they will beat the Jets and they will beat the Saints. But the Titans and the Patriots, that's a tough way to end the season. I'm thinking both teams are going to be desperate for different ways. I think the Titans are going to be desperate to hold on to the AFC South. I think the Colts are coming. The Titans are kind of falling down. We'll see how the Titans are doing at that point. And the Patriots will definitely be in the contention for that number 1 spot at that point. Like they're the number 1 seed right now in the AFC, and they still got the Bills left. So we'll see how that plays out. But the Titans, they got the Steelers, they still got the 49ers, and they got the Dolphins. So depending on how the Titans do against the Steelers and the 49ers, they might be desperate going into the Titans game as well. So that's shaping up to be a very, very pivotal game for both teams. And for the Patriots, like it'll be tough to beat them regardless. Even when they don't play the starters, it's still going to be tough. But the Patriots have the Colts, the Bills, the Jaguars, and the Dolphins. So it's no easy pickings for the Patriots either. We'll see how they do against the Colts, and we'll see how they do against the Bills in the rematch to see how they're standing at that point. I don't think there would be. I don't think they'll have the division wrapped up by week 18. So will I say, can the Dolphins do it? I don't think so. I think that 1-7 hole was too much, and I don't think they run the table. I think they need to run the table to make the playoffs. And they're in a 5-game win streak. They have a bye week this week. Usually a bye week always comes at a great time, but they're firing on all cylinders. You kind of want to keep playing when you're on a good win streak. They're on a 5-game win streak. They're playing against beatable teams, the Jets and the Dolphins. So you kind of you look at your schedule and they're probably thinking like, man, why can't we keep this momentum going? We're playing against teams we could beat. We're flying on a high note. Like, let's just keep getting these dubs. Obviously, Devontae Parker's coming back. They got other players that are injured that need to get healthy. So on that point, the bye week always comes at an opportunistic time. So we'll see what Flores tells him over the bye week. They cannot slip up. They can't lose to the Jets or the Saints and think that they're going to have a chance to make the playoffs. If they want to make the playoffs, he needs to just, this bye week, just keep email him, text him, hit up the group chat, just let them know. Like, don't overlook the Jets. Don't overlook the Saints. Be focused. You can't look too past. I know we're in a 5-game win streak, but realistically, in my heart of heart, I just think there's too many teams ahead of them. They're on a 5-game win streak. It's great for them. They're 6-7, but they're still the 13th seed in the AFC, and that's, the mountain was too high. I think at the end of the season, the Dolphins are going to look back at the Jaguars game on October 17th. They're going to look at the Falcons game on October 24th, and they're going to be like, man, if we would have been able to pull these victories off against the Jaguars and the Falcons, we would have had a chance. If they beat the Jaguars on October 17th, instead of 6-7, they're 7-6, and they're probably in one of these playoff spots, or they're like with the Colts. They're tied with the Colts as the 9th seed, and that's way better than 13th. I think the hole was just too big. It's unfortunate because Tua did get hurt. There was all those rumors about Watson. I think that didn't help Tua either. And they just started slow. Terrible, because a lot of people had the Dolphins making the playoffs this year after the way they finished last year. Brian Flores, who a lot of people were thinking could be coach of the year, is just I feel bad for Dolphins fans because this 5-game winning streak has been good. Tua's been playing good. That offense has been playing better. That defense has really stepped up. A lot of things are going good for the Dolphins. If they're able to run the table, they could be one of those teams that you're like, whoa, where did they come from? Are they going to make some noise in the playoffs? That defense is good. They're playing sound offensive football. Can they make some noise? Can they upset a team? But it just looks like they're not going to get a chance. And I feel for the Dolphins because I think they were one of the teams I picked to make the playoffs as a wild card. And it's just, it's tough. It's tough. But Tua earned his starting position. He's been good. He's been more than good. He's been solid. He's been more than solid. He's been good. I won't say he's been great, but he's been good. He's definitely impressed me. Him and Waddle definitely seem to have something going, and that's exciting. Or Waddle in his rookie year, Tua in his second year. That's exciting. That should get you excited as a Dolphins fan. You got Gesicki, you got Parker. Gaskin is doing a little bit of something. If you get maybe another explosive running back and maybe a elite wide receiver to pair with Waddle, because Parker's just always hurt, then this offense could really start to take off. And if you're Watson and if you're the Dolphins, I still think you want to go for Watson just because the pieces are there. Gesicki is one of the higher end tight ends. Waddle looks like he's going to be a star in the NFL. Gaskin's not a bad running back. He can run. He can catch. That defense is starting to shape it up. It looked like the Dolphins 1-7. Like, does Watson still want to go here? Like, they're 1-7. They're not doing that hot. At the very least, the Dolphins, that pick that they gave away, is starting to push up into the draft boards, so it doesn't feel as bad. If that's any solace for the Dolphins, but great run that they're in. Hope the Dolphins get healthy and hope they game plan well during this bye week. But in my heart of heart, in my opinion, I'm sorry, Dolphin fans, I would have to say that it's too little, too late.